Check. Oh, I thought we already were live.
No.
Ah!
No.
What?
Ooh. What other marriage podcast was it, Lila? I'm wondering.
Good
There's
morning.
A couple of good ones.
Okay. Do we need to charge your phone? Or plug it in?
No, it should be fine.
We can.
Okay. Darn it.
Because...
All right,
what
here.
if it's not... Hold on. No, stay right there.
Stay here and talk to our friends.
No. Stop. There's a charger right here.
Okay. Hey, Kenan, what's up?
Kenan.
Kenansk.
The Love Hour with Kevin and Melissa Fredericks.
Really? I've never heard of that one.
I don't know that I have either.
Maybe it was linked to them or something? I don't know.
Maybe they listen.
Okay, sorry, this is going to be funky.
Sup? Kenan says, sup.
What's up, Kenan?
You want to know what's up, Kenan? We just went to the Great Wolf Lodge. Surprised our kids.
That's
We
right.
got to do it through the rubber band.
I think that's fine.
It's crooked.
Wow.
Oh, come on.
Longest
Scott is
pre-funk
lucky.
ever. What's up, Kenan? I mean,
They
Melissa mentioned
y'all.
y'all.
That's so fun.
What's up, Paul?
Same. Melissa listened to you guys and mentioned your podcast. That's so fun. We'll have to check them out.
Melissa who, I wonder?
Well, they just said it, didn't they?
Okay.
Oh, Paul. Yo.
Yo, Paul. What's up? Paul, I messaged you this morning starting a program Monday, and I need some accountability, bro.
You're
For
doing
real.
75 hard?
No, I'm not doing 75 hard. I'm too scared to do that, honestly.
That's funny. Okay.
I'm gonna do
Alright.
something different, so.
Get this over here. Get this over here.
All right. Good morning, Rebecca. Hey, what's up, TJ?
I wish you guys could see our setup from the other perspective. We have like 2 phones, a sound system, a computer. Everything's like suction cup to the window.
Sound system?
Recording system. It's very funny. It must look very funny to people.
To the nabes.
Okay.
What's up?
Are you ready?
Okay.
Oh, that was really loud. What are you? 4?
Check.
You're 3. Okay, I think we're ready. Yo, says TJ. Okay. All right. We ready?
I'm sleepy.
Okay.
Okay.
Hello and welcome to the Anatomy of Marriage podcast. I'm your host, Melanie Studley.
Good morning. My name is Seth Studley. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist, and today is day 15 of the AOM 100-day challenge of Q&A. You send in your questions, we answer them, and have a great discussion about all kinds of stuff.
If you're new here, welcome. We have hundreds of episodes about hundreds of topics. Go check them out. Season 1 is totally different from the rest of the show, so check it out specifically because it's perfectly awesome.
That's right.
And
today's show is brought to you by audibletrial.com/anatomy of marriage. Go to audibletrial.com and get your free ebook. We love ebooks. Audiobooks. We learned a lot of stuff. Melanie is listening to Mel Robbins right now.
Finished it.
And,
So
you
good.
finished it. Wow. Lightning round. Okay, go there, get your free stuff. And we do 4 things every time. We do a prayer, we share a past gratitude, we answer your guys' questions, and then we read a review of the day. So, let's...
Not in that order.
check it out. Okay.
All right, let's start with prayer.
Go for it.
Thank you, God, for all of our blessings. Help us to just have an amazing day, to do good things, to love people well, and to move through this world in a way that is generative and good. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
Amen. Clinics.
I'm thankful that you brought the kids down to Great Wolf Lodge. We went to Great Wolf Lodge yesterday.
That's why we didn't do an episode.
Yeah.
Because we were at the Great Wolf Lodge, and I was like, I'm not taking my sound gear down there. We had a surprise trip because Seth spoke there, and he was like, I might be able to get tickets. So I surprised the kids.
We got tickets, and you drove them down, and I was thankful for that. So
it was so funny.
Way to be a
I'm
party
thankful
mom.
that you got the tickets. I'm thankful that you spoke at the Great Wolf Lodge and that you do stuff like that. And it was kind of the first time that we were able to make, like, where we're actually speaking and our kids get to go. I mean, it was just Seth, but it just felt really awesome. And
that's designing what we want to do.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And the Great Wolf Lodge is so fun. I never had been.
Yeah.
So
It's
it was
like
really
a water
awesome.
park and stuff. So
Said I missed you guys yesterday. You guys talk about the best topics. Oh, thank you.
Thanks.
And also, that's great to bring up that we are live on Instagram and Facebook every time we record an episode. So check us out. It's Facebook Live and Instagram Live, and that's what we're talking to people because they're talking to us. So thank you.
Okay,
for that
let's
nice
do it.
comment.
Review the day.
Oh, it's right there. Sorry.
No problem. All right, 5 stars from ECAF. All right, proud to relate. Seth and Melanie are the people you want in your tribe. Ooh, they not only hold space to relate to the really difficult parts of our closest relationships, but offer solution and tools. We can't thank you enough. Keep it up. Heart emoji. Thanks.
Thank you.
ECAF. That's awesome.
That's a great review.
We
Thank
try
you so much.
We try to do what we can. Okay, let's go to the questions. My wife and I rarely fight, maybe a few times a year. Based on what I hear in your podcast, it seems that you both have arguments and fights at least a few times a week. Yes, we do. How do you keep from getting emotionally damaged? It often takes a few days for us to move beyond any argument we may have had. We dialogue about things after our walls have come down, but we are always wary of each other doing the same thing again. And no, we've never had makeup sex, and there's no way we could be that vulnerable with each other. What are your thoughts?
Don't say never.
What are your thoughts on this?
I think there's so many things that come to mind when I think of this question of like it says something like, how do you keep from getting emotionally damaged? And the first thought that came to my mind when I read this question was, having a disagreement with someone does not equal harming them. Mm-hmm. It does not mean that you have to harm them. Even being upset at someone doesn't mean you have to harm them. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. And so that was the first thing that came to my mind, is that I want to kind of rethink, like, just because we see things differently does not mean I'm dishonoring Seth, or does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm going to go a different route, I guess. So from family of origin stuff, maybe your mom or dad or whoever you grew up with had really bad fights, and you're like, I want to avoid all of that, so we end up being conflict avoidant because fighting is, maybe the worst thing ever in our minds. However, I don't like fighting. I am a peacemaker and try to be as conflict avoidant as possible, and you won't let me do that, and I think that is better for our relationship. So it's not like we fight all the time. When we do, it's about things to make the marriage better. It's not just like a nagging kind of thing, like people being weird. It's a better thing. And where am I going with this?
Well,
only fighting a couple times a year. I think there's a lot of stuff that needs to be talked about, and maybe both of you are scared. So maybe you need the AOM fight map, like go there, and also the clearing structure, because you can talk about unpleasant, conflictual things without it being, if you say that you have like an infection in your arm or something, and it's like, oh, I need to go get it, cut or stitched up or something. That's not the worst thing. Look at it as like, oh, I have to do this, and after I do that, it will take care and release the pressure of the cut or the infection or whatever, and it'll make it better. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
it doesn't mean that my arm is, broken and stupid, and I shouldn't have an arm.
I like that.
Right.
Stupid arm. The thing that came to my mind too is also that when you have a disagreement with somebody and you have a fight, I don't know what to call a fight. Fight is the wrong word. So it's having like conflict, a disagreement. You don't see eye to eye about something. It does not mean that one person has to be the winner and the other person is the loser.
Right.
That's, I think, an old model that people follow. Like, well, if I get my way, he won't get his way.
That's how I thought about it.
Let's do
time.
Them we, right. You, me, and we. The Dan Siegel concept, where it's like we can have a difference of opinion. We can have, maybe you want the kids to be homeschooled and your wife wants them to go to public school, and that doesn't mean there needs to be a knockdown, drag out where you call people names. And maybe that is what you saw modeled in your home, and so you're terrified of it.
Right.
But just acknowledge that and figure that out and say, am I afraid of conflict because of what I grew up with? Am I afraid of conflict because I saw my dad hit my mom? Or, why are you afraid of conflict? Why is your wife afraid of conflict? And then also ask yourself, what are your Enneagram numbers? Like, what are your Enneagram types? What type of attachment style do you have? Are you conflict avoidant? Are you what is it?
Attachment style.
What is it? Secure, attached,
Go ahead. So a thought that came to my mind right now is, I have thought like this, like this couple, a lot in our relationship, and it's a thing where I have to understand, like, Melanie is for me. Like, okay, let's just start out there. Melanie is for me. She wants to talk about something conflictual or anxiety provoking or whatever, and I have to remind myself, okay, this is not about me versus her. Mm-hmm. She's right, I'm wrong, she always gets her way. It is only about, we are on the same team. And like, from growing up, my mom and dad fought a lot, and I was like, he's right or she's right, and it's her against him, and this and that. And I'm like, oh, that doesn't sit well with me. It sounds like maybe this couple is going through the same thing. Make sure before any argument, before any kind of like conflictual thing, it's like, okay, I am for you here, and I'm on the same team.
Well, and I have done that where I've said that during our arguments or whatever you call them, like where I can tell that Seth is feeling whatever he's feeling, like attacked or whatever, and I will say, look, I'm not against you. I want a solution, and I'm for you. So there's a lot to examine there. I would say read Mel Robbins' book. I think it's called Taking Control of Your Life. I just read it or listened to the audio version of it. It is flipping fantastic. It also has a free workbook, so go get the Mel Robbins book. What are you looking at me weird for? Is there like a booger on my face?
Whenever we do these, like, I really think that your teeth are very beautiful. They're like fine china porcelain stuff, and I just appreciate them, and I'm just literally looking at them.
Good,
so,
that's
great.
To
trip you up.
I want to read what Brittany wrote. It says, my husband and I were seeing a counselor, and he called it an intense time of fellowship, which is fighting. It's an intense time of fellowship. I dig that. I dig that.
That's pretty good. I like that reframe.
But thank you for that question, and I think it's I think we need to examine why we're so afraid of fighting or having conflict.
Okay.
Start there.
Yes. Okay. Next question. How do I deal with my spouse who has a victim mentality? He has laid the entirety of our problems on my shoulders and thinks that I don't care because I am not empathetic enough to his struggles. He has literally said that his depression is due to me. What are the best ways to deal with him and his accusations? It's hard for me to talk to him at this point because now everything I say is a criticism, and it's very frustrating on my end. Thank you so much. You guys rock.
Are you married to me? Because it sounds like you're married to me 5 years ago. That's weird.
Okay, so how did you have a victim mentality?
Everything was your fault.
Yeah, I
know.
know.
You know, and what's funny is
sucked.
That Mel Robbins book actually helped me see that. That it because she talks about when you're afraid you do the same patterns.
Too little, too late.
And it's over. Oh man, rats. So it's a little. I just almost repeated. It's a little too late. But in the Mel Robbins book, she talks about when you're afraid, you do the same thing. So every time that, and not even just when I was afraid, every time things weren't going my way, every time I felt like a failure, every time I thought things weren't panning out like I had hoped, I immediately turned everything at Seth and was like, it's your fault.
Right.
Because all of my ideas are great and everything I do leads to prosperity, which it doesn't.
No, they don't.
And they're not. And so it's weird because I was that, but I had no clue that I was that.
And I made it worse by trying, by
acquiescing.
By acquiescing, by believing her. And then that created in me just like, oh, great, I can't do anything. Then I would internalize it. And it was stupid, right? So I should have known, but I didn't. So I'm not beating myself up here. It would have been way better if I said, I'm not picking up what you're putting down. Okay? And
well, let me stop you.
It's hilarious. Like you don't do that when I do that to you. You know, you don't pick it up, and that makes me mad. You know, because I'm like, oh, you do this to me all the time, and you're good at just being like, I'm not picking it up.
Ain't my baby crying.
Yeah, that's what you would say. Are y'all in Dallas Fort Worth? No, we are in Seattle. We were in Dallas this year.
It'd be fun to go there.
And we're going to be in Austin again in November. So
but what I will say in regards to the victim mentality idea is that what I think you have to do, instead of pointing it out, because that's not going to work. If you were to say to me, you blame me for everything, which he did, I would be like, no, I don't. It's your fault. I don't blame you. It is your fault.
Right.
Like I was manipulating my own mind and not having any clue that I was doing it. I couldn't see the forest for the trees.
Right.
Never could have. So him telling me that I was blaming him never mattered, and it never did. But what I think would have been really helpful was if you actually would ask me, how can I help you? And like, how can I, Seth, bring a solution to this problem?
Then
and I know that
you would have said,
nope, hold on.
You could not do it. You could think about me in the first place. Look.
Okay, whatever. That was cool. But I think what would have helped me is proving that I was wrong. Like if you had said, well, okay, I cause all of your depression. How can I stop doing that? And I would be like, well. And then I would prove to myself, Seth actually isn't the source of my depression.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
I think it'd be a really fine line to walk, and you'd have to do it you'd have to know yourself well enough to know that you wouldn't get your feelings hurt if your partner just said it was your fault.
So this is serendipitous. See that black and the gray book right there? Grab those books for me. These are on my nightstand, right? So, this, and Paul, if you're still watching, I think you'll like this. One book is called
Extreme Ownership.
Extreme Ownership, and then the other book is called Discipline Equals Freedom. Extreme Ownership talks about you, person, are literally responsible for everything that we do, all outcomes, every single thing. And I'm reading it right now. It's by a guy named Jocko Willink, and he was a Navy SEAL, and he takes yeah, you are still listening, good. And it's I'm reading it again, and it's the understanding of you are not a victim. You do have control. You can change and rewrite your own thing, right? So I would have your husband check out that, and
but I will say, so invite him. This is going to really sound tricky, but this is what I wish someone had done to me, because Seth would take the bait. Seth would be like, oh man, I really am making her depressed. Although he would be like, it doesn't seem like that's right, but I guess. And so he would kind of fall for it every time. And it doesn't sound like you're falling for it. So that's good. You're not falling for it because you're not responsible for your husband's depression. But the trick is, how do you lure, I just thought of when you get to catfish, like you put your finger in the water and do that.
When you're noodling?
When you're noodling.
How do you know about noodling?
You. I'm married to someone from the South. So I think of how do you noodle your partner to be more empowered? And I think of, it would be something like, oh man, depression does really suck. There's a few things you can do. Let's see if we can figure them out together. Let's see if maybe diet is something, noodle them, pull them your way,
right,
just little by little, but not by going, you're blaming me for your depression and that's not right. Because I would have been like, you're an idiot if that was what you were doing to me. Yeah. But you could have noodled me out into being, out into understanding things differently. But it's all about the awareness of solutions, growth mindset, all of that stuff. But you can't be explicit about it. You can't overtly say, this is what I'm doing to you. You have to noodle in secret. That's right. Secret noodling.
Secret noodling. There you go.
I think that's so funny.
Okay. Yeah.
That's a great
I
question,
think that you can, this sounds counterintuitive, but you can help him by not picking up what he's putting down. And that's going to be,
and by inviting,
a couple of arguments, that's going to be hard, but don't pick up what he puts down.
And you're really strong, so you can do this. You can do it, and it's not going to break you. You can do it.
Okay. So this is a long question. So this question talks about...
He's going to read it, but kind of condense it.
Yeah. So this morning we woke up. I told my husband, hey, do you think you can do 2 things for me? He's off and home all day with our little kid, and she asked for 2 chores to be done, and he said, yeah, no problem at all. Get some rest. It's cool. I leave for work and get a call from him. He was calling to apologize because he started shutting down because he was getting frustrated with me. Apparently he felt that I was being harsh. I kept asking him to explain, and he said, I don't know. This sounds like a great communication moment. He's apologizing, and I'm trying to understand, but I'm concerned. I don't know what I did, and if I look back and I can't see what I did wrong or how I might have offended him. I told him not to worry about his chores, that I would help with this weekend, and he still was feeling he was harsh. And then that she was harsh to him, and sometimes he apologizes too much and even apologizes after sex, and it's driving me crazy. I feel like he always apologizes for the dumbest things. Am I reading in too much to this? How can I communicate with him? It's really bothering me. And is this a normal guy thing? How can I as a wife support him in this and not go crazy? It's just that many of these apologies are really not necessary, and he doesn't need to apologize. Okay, so I can understand how, I think I did that for a while, right?
I don't know. I don't remember.
Well, I think that maybe you were coming off harsh, and I would internalize stuff and be like...
Oh, no. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Okay.
No, so what's interesting about that is that it's sort of both. I would say it's not just him. It could also be you being harsh, but it's like Seth. So, for example, in our relationship, Seth is hypersensitive to if he thinks someone disapproves of him. So, doesn't matter who it is. It can be, my dad could not talk to Seth. My dad doesn't talk to me, but my dad could not talk to Seth, and Seth would be like, your dad is so mad at me.
Be like, what's up?
No, he's not. He's just quiet and weird. And so Seth was internalizing someone else's behavior as, oh, I'm bad. They're ignoring me. This is so bad. I'm this. And he would kind of shrink down, and it was always negative. It was never like, oh, Seth, Melanie's dad is busy. didn't talk to me. No big deal.
Right.
It was like it lacked self-confidence. And so that is a thing that Seth does and has done in our marriage. So when I would say sort of curtly, like, hey, do the dishes, please, he would be like, oh. I mean, I thought I was, it was this like weird, very unhealthy dynamic where I was just being straightforward. I wasn't being a jerk. I wasn't being an a-hole.
Right.
But Seth could not hear it for the like sort of just straightforwardness it was. It was like it had to offend him. And so until we figured that out, that dynamic of Seth has sensitive points and I was kind of accidentally touching those sensitive points. I didn't mean to, and he didn't mean to have those sensitive points. But once we figured that out, it was really, really helpful. So I would again suggest listening to the Mel Robbins book, Take Control of Your Life, I think is what it's called.
But this is for her question about him. So from
but have him look at it.
Yeah, okay. So from a guy's perspective, I think, well, maybe not even a guy's perspective, but maybe he feels like he is less than and he's not living up to your expectations. So I'm just keeping on apologizing, and I understand that would be very annoying and kind of grating after a while. So I think it's more of it's a his thing. It may not be how you're talking to him too harshly. I mean, don't be a jerk about things, but continue to use I statements and just speak and communicate in a very straightforward way. And I think that maybe you could give him some resources on, okay, you don't have to internalize this stuff. You don't need to apologize. What is the basis for your apologies? Are you thinking that you're, disappointing me, that you're not living up to my expectations? Because that's not true. That's negative self-talk going on. Oh, I need to apologize. And she even said that he apologizes after sex. Why? Are you acting like you're not enjoying it the whole time? You're like, come on, let's do this, whatever, this is for you. Then, yeah, there can be some weird feelings there. So how are you contributing to it also? And I'm not saying you're responsible, but, sometimes inadvertently and unknowingly we contribute to problems.
Well, and I would say, too, something that is not maybe the first thing that would come to mind is instead of saying, why do you always apologize? I wish you wouldn't apologize so much. Like, it hurts my feelings when you apologize. Like, instead of that, which is what I would do. Like that's what I would have done in the past. That's why I'm saying that. I would encourage you to encourage your partner. Like when they apologize after sex, say, hey, no, I loved that. You do not need to apologize. Please don't apologize. It actually makes me feel kind of bad, so don't apologize. I loved it. Like you can hand back that apology in a loving way, in an encouraging way. If your partner calls you and says he was sorry for being emotional about how you whatever, just be...
Sometimes you do that. You say, when we're on the phone, you say, oh, well, I can let you go. I don't really need anything. I'm like, no, you called me. Why? This isn't a problem. So you're kind of like, what is it called? It's like taking a really low position kind of thing. It's almost like you don't feel, or maybe your husband doesn't feel like they're important enough or worthy enough they feel like a bother. You know what I'm saying? And that's on him or her to kind of rearrange. And sometimes I know I've told you before, I'm like, hey, no problem at all. Don't apologize. I want to talk to you. Yeah. Kind of thing.
Yeah, I think there's a way that you could encourage, because it is a bid for something feels off in your partner. Something they feel sad or they feel sorry. And so that it I want you to try to see, can you change how you respond in a way that's going to empower your partner to then feel like, yeah, no, you're right. I don't need to apologize, because this is a pattern that's going to be really, really hard to break.
Yeah.
It's a pattern that he's been doing forever. So it's just going to take time. But I don't want that to be a discouraging thing. I think it's going to be really exciting for the changes that will come along once you start changing those patterns. But it takes awareness.
I remember times where I've just looked you in the eye and said, no, you don't need to apologize. No inconvenience at all. Nothing. So, no.
I don't ever. I don't.
I know that.
Maybe you're married to someone else. So
I'm not married to somebody else.
Don't recall that story, but
okay. I'm gonna read a question here. Let's see. What self work did you do to shift your mindset?
Read every audiobook ever on the planet.
That's right. Read tons of books.
Mel Robbins.
Wayne Dyer.
Oh yes, Wayne Dyer. all the time.
Tony Robbins.
Hal Elrod.
Hal Elrod is a good one.
And we will make a resource list because someone actually sent an email saying, I really want a resource list for all the books that you talk about. Mm-hmm. So we'll try to get a really good one, and we'll just essentially put our ebooks.
Sounds like a bid for intimacy. Yep. You've listened to either us or John Gottman before.
Right.
So thank you.
The other things to change our mindsets on things, like even watching TED Talks about growth mindset, Carol Dweck's work. Mm-hmm. Just immerse yourself in this stuff till it becomes familiar. I would listen to things when I was like, I don't know what they're talking about, but I knew that they were good and healthy and positive things to listen to, and then listen to it over and over and over, like different vetted, Tony Robbins, Mel Robbins, who else can we think of? We said Hal Elrod, Brendan Burchard, Max Out guy, what's his name?
Ed Mylett. Yes.
Those types of people. Just who else? What's that guy's name? Lewis Howes. You already said that. Joyce Meyer. Yeah, I love Joyce Meyer. Those kind of people.
The Order of Man podcast. Ryan Mickler. The Order of Man. That's a really good one. And
who else?
I don't know. We can include it in the resources. So, okay, time to wrap up. We're almost at 25 minutes. Thank you guys so much for joining us once again on Instagram and Facebook Live. Remember to go to audibletrial.com/anatomy of marriage to get your free audiobook. Like we talked about, John Maxwell. Yep, he's a great leader. He was on, Order of Man podcast, I think, recently.
Even
and it was
Aaron Walker.
Aaron
Dave
Walker.
Ramsey, even. I mean, Rachel. These people are all like.
Oh. Guys, I talked to Dave Ramsey on Thursday. On Thursday, I called into the show, got in, and we talked about home building stuff. So go listen to that. It's, I think,
advice on home building?
Advice on the home building process or something like that. But I talked to him. It's the second time I've talked to him before. I called in a couple years ago about selling a house, and it was fun. So go check that out also. And we love you guys. Any parting words, Mel?
Please rate and review the podcast. It is extremely helpful. We'll read your review on the show. And also go to audibletrial.com/anatomy of marriage. Get your free audiobook on us. Please do that. And share the podcast with your friends. And tell us what's going on in your life. We love you.
Oh, wait a minute. Okay, wait. One more question. Melanie, did you get your bathtub at this new apartment?
You know what's really funny about this?
She did get a clean bathtub.
The bathtub is nice. The bathrooms are really I mean, compared to what we had before, the bathrooms feel huge, and I love it. But listen to this.
Oh, boy.
Because it's an apartment, and I'm sure it's like a safety thing, the bottom of the bathtub is like... Scratchy, so you don't fall. So it's like literally the same problem I had at the other house, minus that it was like an old...
You can get a mat though for that.
I guess you can, but it's hilarious. It makes me laugh every time I get in the tub. I'm like, how is that? How? But I love the bathrooms in this apartment. They're really big and they're laid out really wonderfully. So
and I love that you asked the question.
I do too.
So thanks, Rachel.
But yeah.
Okay, we'll catch you guys probably Monday. We might take tomorrow off, but join us bright and early Monday morning, and we love you guys. Peace out.
Send in your questions.
Bye.
All right. We're still here.
Hey guys.
Okay, I'm gonna unplug all this stuff. So you say goodbye to everybody.
You guys have an awesome time today, wherever you are. And
wherever you are.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.